Sting, who's been mentioned, who's actually currently still actively wrestling. Fair play to him, and I actually enjoy him in AEW. What was Sting like to work with?
Pretty easy, pretty night off. Again, we had developed I feel a pretty good friendship outside of the ring, and in fact, we're best of friends today. And when I look back at the matches that he and I had, and especially the chain matches, we had a brutal Russian chain match more than one occasion, but fairly easy to work with, and we had a very similar personalities outside of the ring. I mean, when it came to eating, exercising, our attitude towards the fans. And so, yeah, I really felt the chemistry was well and worked well against each other, and then well with each other later on.
Oh, wicked. I do enjoy the matches you had against Sting. I'd like to ask, what did you enjoy the most, working as a heel or as a babyface?
I get asked that question all the time, and it's interesting. I like to say I feel fortunate I got the opportunity to be on both sides and experience that. There's a chance for your audience that maybe doesn't know a whole lot of the story about Magnum TA and his automobile accident, that had he not had that accident in 1986, I don't know that I ever would have been a babyface. I don't know that I ever would have been on the good side of the tracks, only because of the history he and I had, and he was being groomed to be the world heavyweight champion. Who knows? There may have been a best of 7 for the world heavyweight belt, just like there was for the U.S. belt. Yeah. We'll never know. That's another thing, like the Hulk Hogan match, right? But I enjoyed being on both sides, and I'm glad I had that experience.
That's great, mate. That's great. I have to ask, because he's one of my personal all-time favorites, Dusty Rhodes. Do you have any funny Dusty Rhodes stories?
The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, power, too sweet to be sour, if you will. Jordan, NIKITA Koloff and I, baby. I'm the son of a plumber from Austin, Texas, but we became the super powers, if you will. Yeah.
So I did want to ask if you could do an impression, but just in case you didn't want to do it, but thank you.
So there's a little taste of both, okay?
Yes.
Man, I have such great memories of Dusty. I mean, not only working with him, but he and I used to travel. I mean, we traveled a lot together once we became the Superpowers. Up and down the road, he had this red convertible Mercedes Benz that we used to fly up and down the highway in. And interestingly, I said he would always drive. He would always want to take his car and drive. And I don't know if that's because he didn't trust my driving abilities, or if he just enjoyed driving. Yeah. But and we had so many great conversations, and I mean, we go back to when Cody Rhodes was in diapers, right? So I remember when Cody was born, but we just had great conversations on a personal level, talking about life, and then of course, as I mentioned, all of the ingenious ideas that he had, and matches he created, and the outcomes. Man, I loved the man right up to his passing. We weren't as close the last few years of his life, only because I was on this ministry path, and he was still involved in wrestling. But we would see each other every now and then, and when we did, we just picked up where we left off and hugged each other's necks and had some good laughs.
That's great to hear, man. Honestly, I'm so glad I got to ask you and hear the impressions, and just hear that you had wonderful times with him. And it does suck that the wrestling world did lose him.